Hello, how's it going? To catch you up on what's happening, I love journaling. I hate journaling apps, so I'm making my own. Last week I gave myself 30 days to release the app because I've just been pushing it over and over again for a year now. This week, we started work on the plan. So, here's to recap what the plan looks like. We have the editor view, where you actually create the entry for your journal, and a couple of other ones. The reason I'm saying the other ones is because this week I only focused on the editor. That's what we're going to be talking about. So reviewing the plan, we saw that there were a lot of bugs and a lot of improvements to make. So I squashed a few bugs and made a few improvements. Not that exciting. However, I wanted to start the interesting work. I realized that my code is really bad. So I had to do some refactoring. Refactoring is just a fancy developer term for cleaning up the mess you made. So how big was this mess, you ask? For those of you that don't code, do you remember when you had the wired headphones and you would just shove them into your pocket somewhere and it would just become spaghetti that you have to untangle every single time you took it out? Well, the metaphor here is that I was never untangling it. I just bought a new pair of headphones and stuffed it down the same pocket until I couldn't fit any more in there. So after a grueling 4 hours, I finally had some code that I could actually work with. But at some point I did have 151 error messages all at the same time. So never again. Now to get to the work that is more exciting. To once again catch you up, the idea behind Amulet is that you express yourself first and describe it later. You express yourself with some shape that you change and modify, like clay, to express how you're feeling, and then you describe it. Much like in journaling, you have prompts usually to help you know what to write and know what to write about. Well, I have questions. The questions ask about the different attributes of the amulet, like the pointiness or the shape in general, or the color, and so on and so on. The way that this was implemented until now is that a question just kind of popped up. And sure, it was a good enough kind of situation for a first version. It didn't feel right, and I was stuck for it with a long time on how exactly I could implement these questions. And then I had an idea from outside development. So I'm a PhD student as well, and for the last few weeks I've been stuck on progress. So I talked to my supervisor, and I was trying to explain everything that's happening, hoping to find some advice. Now, the way I thought that 1 hour meeting would go is that I would bring up everything that I've been working on. He would go, yes, this is what you've done wrong. And then we'd find a solution, and I'd walk out and I'd be able to continue. That's not how it went. Over the course of the entire hour, they said, wait, you lost me, something like 20 times, because I was all over the place. Now, every time you need to go back and explain yourself, you get a little bit frustrated and a little bit more lost in what exactly you're trying to get to in the end. After an hour or so, we were barely at the point where we were now talking about the same thing. And coming out of it, I have to admit that my teenage self of, they just don't get me, came up. But of course, that wasn't the case. I was completely in my head. And what I was talking about was completely invisible to them, and it was only visible to me. And then moments later, it hit me that that's what Amulet is about. Amulet's expression, the amulet that you create in each journal entry, is supposed to be a type of expression that makes it visible. It's not supposed to be correct or perfect and literal. It's to make what you're talking about visible to others and yourself. The point of the questions is to ask about what is visible so you can talk about it. And with that beautiful realization, I came up with the plan. The reason why it didn't feel normal while the questions felt forced into the journaling was that it wasn't a dialogue. It was just an on-screen prompt, like you're talking to yourself still, but somehow still telling yourself what to do. So what I did instead is I made a chat screen. Now, it's obviously not perfect yet, but I've been trying it out for the last few days. And the freedom of sending random messages, if not multiple, and just kind of rambling and finding my way through those answers was the feeling that I was looking for with Amulet. It's the feeling that neither of you quite know what is happening. and you just make sense of it in the moment. You're making sense of it together. Most importantly, you're making sense of it outside of your own head. So that's the progress report for this week. I am going to go talk to people about things that aren't just in my head. 1 week down, 23 days to go. I'll leave you with the outro song, as usual. I invite you to go find this song on your streaming platform of choice and get off YouTube a bit. Stare at a ceiling, stare out the window, fold your clothes, clean up the mess. I hope you have a lovely week. I'll see you soon.